I'm going to move that over here. What's up? This is Thursday, pretty close to the end of the quarter, and today I want to recap a few items, preview the next quarter. I'm not adding a new assignment, of course, but I will mention some things you can do. So hey, we're getting some viewers joining here. First of all, I put in some grades today, basically everything except the CQA, and then we'll grade that next. But the CQA is not separate. It's not starting a brand new project. It's just talking about the one that you have. And if you've been following along, you should be fine. That's the general thing I've seen with the grades, is a lot of people are doing great. They might have missed a few points or somewhere, but they're, 90% or whatever. And then we got some few people who are missing a bunch and they're low, but we don't have a lot in the middle. If you're one of those low grades, you can bring it up by working on this one project and having it count for multiple things, because the assignments were like, oh, do this one step and then do the next step. So it's not like you're missing 5 assignments and they would be 5 completely unrelated new ideas. They're just 5 steps of the same one. And if you need help catching up, let me know. Remember, I did send out an email recently for people who needed to catch up. Anyway, let me use an example of what we had last class to talk about the next thing. So in this Space Invaders game, we were making the boxes for the enemies and one for your guy. They shoot back, you shoot at them. If you hit them, they go away and the bullet goes away. And if you get hit, it says you died. You can press enter to come back. That's a pretty solid basis, right? It doesn't look good. It doesn't have every single thing we need, but it's a good start. It doesn't have an ending, by the way. When the last guy dies, you should probably say you win or start level 2 or something like that. But it's pretty solid and it works. And we've tested the movement, the collision. We had to work on the shooting a little bit to make it work the way we wanted. We had to change the shape and size of some of these guys. But it's all right. And your game is probably around there. You may have added colors or a few things, but next quarter, we're going to add some visuals. We're going to do colors. We're going to do images. Okay, there's this idea of a thing called sprites, which are like images in your frontmost layer that can change. For example, if Mario is walking one way and then he walks the other way, the image changes to the reverse, or if he jumps, it changes to like the jump animation. And also the thing about sprites, which doesn't really work the same in Pygame as it does in the classic version of sprites, is that like they are a separate layer. It's like they can move around without messing up the background. And we'll do that. We'll also do some focus on user experience and making sure that if you handed this to somebody, they would know what's going on. They would know what button to push. They would know what the goal is. And so our first assignment next quarter, and by next quarter I mean next week, is adding text. Okay, we saw it when you got the "you died" message, and it gives you information. It also tells you what to do. And so if I see that, I know what's going on. I hit enter. I come back to life. It wouldn't really make sense without it. And you might have text for something like that, for a "you died." You might have it for the end when it says you win. Or you might have it at the beginning to say, hey, you need to find the key, or press spacebar to jump, or here's the game and here's what it is. Little things like that. Not a big paragraph of text. We're not doing like a Star Wars opening crawl or something like that, but just a little bit. And the reason we're starting with that is because it's pretty simple. It's just a few lines of code, but it gives you the user experience, and it gives you our first taste of images, because the way that Pygame does text is it turns it to an image, and then you use this function, which we haven't seen yet, called blit. Okay, blit means you're going to take one image, the text, and slap it onto another image, which is the screen. Again, it's not exactly like classic Sprites where it's really a separate layer, but we still use the word sprite and it still gets a lot of the same benefits. So anyway, to do text, you can look at this example here, or I have another one in one of my breakout games where it says you win or you lose. You have to do two things. You initialize the font, and you don't have to call it font. You can call it whatever you want, but I just use that. And then you use the font stuff that's built into Pygame. This sys font means system font, meaning it's like the default of your operating system or your website or whatever. Of course, you can change that and you can specify specific ones. You might have to upload the file and all of that. It might be complicated. And then this first thing, the none, is whether it's got anti-aliasing, I believe, but the second thing is important, which is the size. So I made 2 font, which is 72, and the small font 36. That's where it says like "you died" is the big one, and then press enter is the small one. So once you initialize those, you use this function called font.render, and then you say the text and some oh, this is where it's anti-aliasing, true or false, and then the color. And then you use the blit, then you make another one, same thing. So this is quite simple. I have 6 lines here to do 2 different messages on the screen, so you'll probably have half that for just one. Again, it's practicing a little bit of UI, user interface, and a little bit of images, which is what, put those together, that's what quarter 4 is going to be all about. Now, the CQA is reflection. It asks you to type a little bit, and it says, hey, what did you think about this part? Did you learn something here? Did you improve this? What's your plan for next time? Some of those I've seen turned in, and I'll grade. Some of them I've seen turned in, and I'm going to send them back. Like if you have really tiny answers, it's like a sentence or something, I might send it back and say, hey, tell me a little bit more here. Give a detail, give an example, explain. But I got some good ones. I've got some ones turned in with some nice, solid paragraphs, and that's what we need. That's what we're working for. If you're worried about your grade, it's really all one thing. Like I said, it's really all about the project, and the steps of that count as their own little assignments or assessments, but they're not their own unique standalone things. If you have an issue with the specific code and you're like, hey, this part's not working, send it in. We're going to look at a couple in class today. I'm not going to record them all because I've tried to record class things sometime and they're super boring, and I post a 35-minute video that nobody clicks on. But we'll do what we can. Tomorrow, e-learning, I will probably do a quick reminder in the morning, but it won't be a separate assignment. And then I'll try to grade. Unfortunately, I've got a couple emails that say like, hey, we're doing a meeting on Friday. Hey, we got a Zoom. The teachers might be occupied with other things, and we might not be just sitting down to freely grade the way that would be ideal, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to end this now before it gets too long, and I will see you guys as soon as I can.